Almost everywhere we turn, truth and civility are on the decline. The recent wave of uncivilized public behavior is appalling, alarming, aggressive, and dangerous. Communication is wrapped in distortion and outright lies, riddled with blatantly divisive rhetoric and laced with violence. My name is Jennifer Mitchell-Early. I help individuals and teams achieve organizational and personal success, and this is Leadership Matters. Today, we're talking about truth, civility, and communication competence. In 2010, Weber Shandwick and Powell Tate, in partnership with KRC Research, released the first annual Civility in America, a nationwide survey to gauge Americans' attitudes towards civility in a variety of areas impacting American society and daily life. According to that in-depth survey of more than 1,000 U.S. adults, an overwhelming majority of Americans view the erosion of civility in human interaction as a major problem. Among the many signs pointing to this steady decline were the daily occurrences of cyberbullying, online flaming, and nasty blog comments, the venomous bickering taking place on some reality TV shows and between TV news personalities and their guests, and the mean-spirited mudslinging among politicians and their loyal supporters. Weber Shandwick Chairman Jack Leslie said, "Freedom of expression is the bedrock of our society. Conflicting points of view are always welcome, but too much incivility in the public square can turn people away from voicing their opinions. The growing proliferation of incivility in the internet led to the launch of Civility Nation, a global nonprofit focused on communicating and engaging online in a responsible and accountable way." Then President Obama weighed in on the growing incivility in politics, stating, "Incivility poisons the well of public opinion. It leaves each side little room to negotiate with the other. It makes politics an all or nothing sport where one side is either always right or always wrong, when in reality, neither side has a monopoly on truth." Let me reiterate, that study that I'm speaking of was conducted in 2010. In 2019, the ninth wave of Civility in America was conducted to track perceptions and experiences over time. The latest installment of Civility in America, the annual poll conducted by Weber Shandwick and Powell Tate in partnership with KRC Research, once again found that the majority of Americans perceive incivility to be a problem in our society. Contributing heavily to the cause of incivility is social media, with 63% of Americans reporting that the impact of social media on civility has been more negative than positive. Only 9% say it's been more positive than negative. More than one half of Americans, 54%, expect civility to get worse, and among this group, 57% believe that the internet and social media are to blame. Factors that top the list of 19 possible choices. So what do you think? Has it gotten worse? Who or what's to blame? And most importantly, where do we go from here? We begin by recognizing how things have gotten worse, by determining that this behavior is not acceptable, and by no longer participating in or allowing such conduct in our presence. As leaders, we have to demonstrate truth, civility, and communication competence, as well as expect it from everyone we engage with. Competent communication is both effective and appropriate. Effectiveness refers to achieving our goals, and appropriateness refers to conforming to the expectations of communication rules of a particular situation. Communication rules are prescriptions that tell us what we should and shouldn't do or say in certain situations. Interpersonal communication competence and the appropriateness criterion in particular promote the social values of respect and civility. Civility can be characterized as something that we do for others. We engage in civil behavior when we discipline our passions for the sake of cooperating with others and limit our language to create community. Civility requires us to express ourselves in ways that communicate respect for others. We can reduce uncivil behavior by becoming communicative communicatively competent. One way to promote civil communication is to engage in perspective taking, considering a situation from the point of view of someone else. We can imagine ourselves being influenced by the situations or contexts that affect others to understand their thoughts and feelings. We can also strive to be appropriate as well as effective in our behavior so as not to break communication rules and to demonstrate respect. Someone who is perceived to be communicatively competent is also likely to be perceived as truthful and ethical. Ethics can be characterized as well-based standards of right and wrong that prescribe what humans ought to do. We create our personal code of ethics when we ask ourselves, are we being humane? Ethics are critical to the study of communication because questions of right or wrong arise whenever people communicate. Communication that meets our goals and that others judge to be legitimate is likely to be perceived as ethical. But because we have a choice about being ethical in our communication, some may take the easy way out by disregarding the need to be ethical communicators. We may think that our own small attempts at respecting others won't make a difference in the larger scheme of things. We may worry that people will reject us when we communicate in an ethical manner. We may also excuse our unethical behavior by referring to the fast pace of modern life in which everything happens so quickly that we don't have time to think about ethics. However, we should ask ourselves how we'd feel if someone, a coworker, family member, friend, public official, doctor, boss, etc., disrespected us by communicating uncivilly to us. Not only will we not accept the excuses, but we wouldn't think that their behavior was effective and appropriate. According to Shelley D. Lane, author of Interpersonal Communication Competence and Context, we can become ethical communicators by considering our answers to the following questions. 1. Have I practiced any virtues today? Consider whether you have shown integrity, consistency of belief and action, trustworthiness, honesty, or responsibility. For example, if you believe that stereotyping is wrong, do you laugh when a friend tells a sexist or racist joke? Integrity. If someone tells you a secret, do you disclose confidential information if the disclosure can bring you personal benefit? Trustworthiness. Do you cheat on a romantic partner without telling her or him about it? Honesty. Do you badmouth a colleague when you miss a deadline? Do you realize that you are accountable for completing tasks assigned to you by their due date? Responsibility. 2. Have I done more good than harm today? Consider the consequences of your actions. For example, do you make it a point to show appreciation and gratitude for your relationship partners? Do you compliment people close to you, knowing that your compliments have the ability to bolster their self-esteem? 3. Have I treated people with dignity and respect? Respect refers to showing consideration to people's beliefs, attitudes, values, and rights. For example, do you call people names or needlessly yell when angered? Do you belittle or contradict beliefs, attitudes, and values that differ from your own? 4. Have I been fair and just today? Fairness refers to treating everyone the same. Justice refers to being fair in the way we distribute benefits and burdens. Do you ask your relationship partner to engage in activities such as cleaning or cooking merely because of his or her gender? Do you communicate to those with less power than yourself, for example, subordinates, the same way that you communicate to someone with equal power, like a colleague? 5. Have I made my community stronger because of my actions? Consider whether you go beyond the self to take into consideration the members of your community. Your community can be your neighborhood, apartment building, street, family, town, company, or place of worship. For example, do you help others in need without expecting anything in return? Do you consider others' thoughts and feelings when listening to music, using a cell phone, or talking in a public place? Perceptions of interpersonal communication competence are situational. Remember that everyone has a different life experience and therefore a different lens through which they see the world. Therefore, it's best to develop a particular repertoire of communication behaviors and to choose the behaviors that best fit a particular situation. Be a bridge builder and a role model for civility and respect. Act in a manner whereby you respect yourself, demonstrate respect for others, and take advantage of every opportunity to be proactive in promoting civility and respect in your workplace. If you found this information valuable, hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to click the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload new content. See you in my next video.